3, 2, 1, 0.
Hey, you! Yeah, you! Come here for a minute. I want to talk to you. Mama says you're brain dead, bang your head against the wall. Can't find peace of mind, brain needs an overhaul. Bonehead, brain dead, we're all the same. You can't think straight when your heart is in pain. Turn around, hit the ground, time to lay your burden down.
The views expressed on this broadcast of the Take 12 Recovery Radio Show are those of the co-host and guest and do not necessarily reflect those of our affiliates. The topics and opinions on today's show should not be considered as medical, psychological, or professional advice.
That's
Take 12
right.
Radio is not affiliated with any particular 12-step fellowship. And now, here's your host,
The man, the myth, the legend.
the Monty Man.
I'm telling you the truth, man, I ain't gonna lie to you.
Moo, Tony.
We're all the same, same.
By grace is the name of the game.
Turn around, hit the ground, time to lay your burden down.
Lay your burden down, Tony. Tony, and just in case you didn't hear me, I said,
Around, hit the ground, time to lay your burden down.
Take me back to the conversation about the cows and no bottom teeth or top teeth or whatever.
yeah, what was that thing we did with the cows?
Mark remembers that one.
Do you remember that? Cows have no bottom teeth or top.
Not
What?
I think it was
exactly.
top teeth.
I don't remember. Welcome to the Take 12 Recovery Radio Show, everyone. Evidently, Tony's here.
I had my Cocoa Puffs this morning.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad. Denver's here.
Morning.
Mars here.
Yes. Morning.
And recovery comedian all the way from, what,
Wow, you lost that.
Fresh.
40 minutes? About 40 minutes away?
A little more than
A
that.
little 45 minutes? An hour?
About an hour, yeah.
Yeah, Mike Lindsey's in the house with us.
Hello.
Hey, Mike, and he's going to be sharing his experience, strength, and hope, what it was like, what happened, and what it's like today, and a whole lot more that all has to do with unloadedcomedy.com. Unloadedcomedy.com. Should I say it one more time? Should I? Unloadedcomedy.com.
You haven't used the sound effects in a while.
Listen, life is too short to be glum, right? Right, Marv?
Really?
Right.
I'm not even going to ask Denver.
Good choice.
So Mike is our guest in the studio. He's actually live in the studio. I don't know what you compare it to being dead in the studio, I suppose, right? But he is live in the studio with us right now. Mike, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's good to have you here. I'm really glad you took the time to come down. You're a busy man. We're going to be talking about that here in just a few minutes. Tony, how you doing?
I'm good.
Yeah,
Despite what I'm going through, I'm actually in a really great mood.
the landlord is coming to inspect your home again.
Well, they're friends. Yeah.
They're friends?
Yeah, Windermere.
Wow.
That's a property management place.
Yeah.
But yeah, he looks like a...
Right there.
Uh-oh.
It's time for Nan's Weekly Wine.
It's the cleaning baby.
Sorry for the interruption.
No, you're fine.
Go ahead. So you're getting the place cleaned up.
Yeah.
get
Well,
in-
I mean, it was already clean, but
Yeah.
super clean.
Okay. Well,
So,
good.
yeah, I got to vacuum and scrub rugs all day.
Yeah, okay. That's because you're compulsive about it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the weekly wine, boy.
I'm
You
excited.
guys know I have no problem throwing people under the bus.
No.
Some people that may have more integrity than I do might say, well, I'm not going to mention any names, but I'm definitely going to mention names. So we know that Colin, our youngest boy, got married here just a week ago. And so in the process of your child getting married, When you are a parent, there is often formal wear to be rented.
Oh, God.
Enter the Natty Dresser, Albany, Oregon. Probably the friendliest, kindest, most jovial people I've ever met in a retail business, but the worst customer service ever. It was just a nightmare. So I go in. We went in a month in advance just to make sure that we would have no issues, right? Because whenever you rent a tux, there always seems to be issues. And so went in a month early, got fitted for this thing, which was way overpriced anyway. But, you know, it's your kid's wedding, right? So went in and got fitted for this thing. Went in, called. They were supposed to call us on this one particular Monday. No call. The next Monday, no call. So I called them on a Tuesday, and they said, well, we're not open on Monday. But on the receipt, it says, we'll call on Monday. Well, who wrote that? I go, well, your guy that fitted me. Well, that was incorrect. Yeah.
Really?
Evidently. And so, anyway, they said, well, we'll call you when it comes. Don't worry, we'll call you. We'll call you. They never did call. Went down there. Oh, there it is. It was there. Right. Now, check this out. Okay. Now...
So this is now 2 weeks before the wedding.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
All right. So this thing is like literally almost a foot short in the sleeves.
Oh, my God.
It's all the way up to my elbow. The pants are another foot too short. I mean, I look like something from a Barbra Streisand musical.
Big guy in a little suit.
I'm telling you. They're going, oh my, this measurements aren't correct. I'm like, dude, so I could not even, forget trying to button the top button. I couldn't even button the one below that. I mean, it was just crazy. So I said, no problem. We'll take care of it. We'll take care of it. I said, when will you take care of it?
Monday.
Monday. Exactly.
So they're going to take care of it. So we're going to call you tomorrow. We'll call you tomorrow. No, we'll call you in a couple of days. I said, okay, that's enough time. So they didn't call. So I went down there, right? Oh, yeah, we have it ready. They were getting ready to call you.
Next Monday.
Yeah. And so I try it on. Still too short.
Oh, my God.
Pants too short. Now, the shoes, Mike,
Yeah.
evidently, they say, I love this. Well, it's the style. Right? Okay, the shoes were like clown shoes. They were literally 5 inches from my toe long. I am not kidding you. They were like wearing those fairy tale shoes with the curl up on the end, like Aladdin would wear, you know, kind of thing, but they didn't curl on the end, but that's how long they were. And their answer to me was, well, that's the style now. Where? In Neverland? I mean, where is that style? And they're made out of plastic.
Oh, my God.
Comfy.
You know those fake Santa shoes that aren't really shoes when you wear a Santa outfit? That's what they reminded me of. They were this hard plastic thing. So anyway, I said, okay, we'll fix it. We'll take care of you. We'll call you tomorrow. Right? So they did call.
Oh.
Yeah. And we lost the jacket. So they had to reorder the jacket. When will the jacket be in? On Monday. But you're closed on Monday. Unbelievable. So anyway, when it finally all got straightened out, the day before the wedding, right? Cameron and I go down there, my oldest boy, to go pick it up. They've lost it.
To beat them up.
They lost the whole thing. They couldn't find it.
The day before the wedding?
Yes.
You look so calm at the wedding, too.
Well, they found it at gunpoint. But I'm like, well, you gotta be kidding me. But they were so nice. They were just so nice. Oh, they were just... Anyway, it took them 20 minutes. They couldn't find the suit. And they finally found the suit. The Natty Dresser. I am telling you.
Burn them down. Without hesitation.
Don't go to the Natty Dresser. So anyway, so my tux I'm renting for the Teen Challenge Spring Gala.
It's the same tux.
I went to Salem. I went to Salem to Mr. Formal and got that taken care of, and that's already been taken care of. So there you go. There's my wine. What a journey, huh? Aren't you glad you don't have to wear a tux, Marv?
I'm really glad.
Aren't you? Oh, my goodness. All right. So, of course, as tradition would demand here at Take 12 Recovery Radio, if we got a wine, we got to do one of these, right? A weekly win. And may I just say... the weekly win for this episode, Marcia and I on Sunday celebrated 29 years of marriage.
Wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Marcia.
She is an amazing lady. And, all right, shut up. Everybody shut up. Stop. It's been an amazing 29 years. It hasn't been without its ups and downs, but between each other, there really hasn't been. Well, there were those.
I was about to say.
There were those every 30-day relapses, but we don't count those.
That's Marcia's side of the story.
So, being married to my best friend and just having the relationship that we've had over the 29 years is absolutely a win. And we went and saw Will Smith as the genie in Aladdin.
Oh, I heard that was good.
Oh, my gosh. It was amazing.
I've heard nothing but good things about it.
Absolutely amazing. I'd see it again and again and again. So that was really cool. So that's the win. All right. There you go.
Congratulations, Marty.
Thank you very much.
Yes, congratulations to you.
Yeah, and so to my oldest son, Cameron, and to my youngest son, Colin, when your parents have an anniversary, buy a card! Jeez. They're 50 cents for two of them at the dollar store. Come on.
Oh, my God.
All right, we're going to take a break and we'll be back with our guest, Mr. Mike Lindsey, recovery comedian. Unloadedcomedy.com is the website. Make a note of it. We'll be back here in just a minute after this important message. Don't go away. Hey there, it's the Monty Man. Did you know that Take 12 Recovery Radio and KHLT Recovery Broadcasting are listener supported? What that means is we don't receive any financial assistance from advertising products or services that have nothing to do with health or recovery, but are supported by you, our listeners. Any other promotions we commit to are purely our way of sponsoring other endeavors we feel are beneficial to the recovery community. Well, one thing we have learned all too well in our second decade of broadcasting is that we receive not because we ask not. Therefore, 3 times a year, we come to you, our listeners, for help. Because we are listener-supported, we depend on your donations to keep us on the air. Our listening audience has helped us to do just that. And once again, we are asking for your support. If you feel that Take 12 Recovery Radio is a valuable part of breaking the stigma of addiction and a resource of recovery from the world's #1 health crisis, we ask that you consider becoming a Take 12 partner. To donate any amount or to sign up for a reoccurring monthly donation, simply visit our website at take12radio.com and scroll down to the bottom of the page and click on the donate button. All proceeds go directly to pay for our expenses to continue to bring you the best in recovery talk and positive music. Won't you consider partnership today? Thank you, and God bless.
Hey guys, this is Richie Supa, and you are listening to Take12Radio.com, recovery talk and positive music.
And welcome back to the show. And by the way, we do have a GoFundMe page. If you go to take12radio.com and click on the link, you can also donate there. And I just want to give a shout out to, we've had about 4 people step up to the plate and donate. We're in the process. We need to raise $3,000 by the end of the month to make our expenses, our big expenses for the year. And we're about halfway there. So thank you. A lot of that credit goes to Roger McDermott for reaching out to some of his friends. And we'll have a list of those people and make sure they get credit for that when we come to the end of this month in June, to thank all you guys for that as well. Listen, life is too short to be a glum lot. We often brag about the fact that we're not a glum lot as we do a weekly whine and complain about life in general. But the deal of it is, laughter is an amazing medicine. Well, Mike Lindsey, who's in the studio with us today, was born and raised in a small town in the middle of Oregon's Willamette Valley, just right up the road here, actually. And Mike, by the way, you were an only child?
Yes.
And adopted?
Correct. Yep.
Me too.
Oh,
yeah,
awesome.
So we have that in common.
Very cool.
Mike grew up finding creative ways to entertain himself, evidently. Often feeling like an outsider growing up, humor and comedy became a tool often used to help him fit in. But in high school, the new coping skill became alcohol and narcotics. These new addictions became embedded in Mike's life and a breeding ground for many more addictive and destructive behaviors. But, Tony, but today, Mike celebrates over 2 years clean and sober.
Oh, it's today?
Actually, that's an older article.
That's an older article. So how long is it?
4 years and 9 months on June,
Oh, wow.
June 1st.
4 years and
He
9
had doubled
months.
it.
Congratulations.
He did that
you.
in just what, a week?
10
Because he
seconds.
sent me this a week.
yeah.
Congratulations.
Well, during his early days of recovery, he decided to pursue a lifelong goal of becoming a stand-up comedian. He is now the proud founder and producer of Unloaded Comedy, and you need to go to the website. It is very well done, unloadedcomedy.com. The tagline is Laugh Yourself Clean, with the vision of bringing levity to the difficult challenges recovering addicts face every single day. And we are all folks in recovery, so we get it. Welcome, Mike, to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so what was going on, man? Before we talk about this whole comedy thing, right? You were an only child, you were adopted, you were a preacher's kid.
Yeah.
I was a Christian before I ever stuck a needle in my arm.
I'm left-handed, too. If I would have had red hair, I would have killed myself.
But
Would have all came together.
so you were raised kind of in the church and stuff. Some people are going, because we have a lot of faith-based people listening to this show. They're going, well, what's up with that? Right?
Yeah.
What was up with that?
There's always that stigma around preacher's kids, I think
There is.
I think a lot of it for me was I see a man of God on Sunday and I see a regular man the rest of the week.
Because you live with them.
Because I live with them,
Yeah.
and it doesn't add up, and I'm confused. I think there's a lot to be said for that. So,
Sure.
but my confusion, I guess, led me one of many things, but led me down a path of coping and dealing with things in a negative way. So,
Right. What was your first experience with mind-altering chemicals?
it was actually marijuana. I think was the first before alcohol.
Right.
Actually, and working on a farm in the summertime, and was kind of introduced to that out there. So.
Yeah, was it kind of like a rite of passage kind of thing for you? Or?
Yeah, I think so. And then it just kind of took over my life. I felt, wow, this feels amazing, and I don't feel anything. This is so cool, and
Sure.
and it helped me fit in, and a new group of friends, and a new group of acceptance, and all that kind of stuff. So I was kind of felt on the outside, and this kind of helped connect some dots.
Kind of, yeah. It was kind of like the first drink I ever had. I was 10 feet tall and bulletproof, and man, could I dance. Right?
Yeah.
That's what everybody was doing, Tony. They were all laughing when I was dancing at the high school dance. So with today's controversial legislative decisions surrounding around cannabis, it's been said by many treatment professionals and people in recovery that if opiates if they're the storm, marijuana's the fog. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would think so. I think there's so much debate over the marijuana and the positives and the negatives and all that stuff, but I think there's more for people that really struggle with addiction.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot more negatives than are being discussed.
Sure.
I think there's a lot of you can always, there's two sides to every story.
Yeah.
And there's definitely a group that wants to tell the positives and the medical benefits and everything to marijuana and the CBD and all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
And I don't argue that whatsoever, but I also don't dabble in it anymore either. So I don't really have a stake in that argument anymore. But for me, for this addict, it was definitely a path down, gateway drug, if you want to call it that, whatever. It was definitely something that I tried before trying a lot of other things. So
it really wasn't your friend.
It wasn't my friend. No,
Yeah.
I thought it was.
So tell what happened. What's your story, man? I mean, you didn't stop with pot.
No, I didn't stop with pot. I was in grade school and high school, middle school and whatnot. I was trying to fit in and didn't really fit in. And I may not show it now, but I got to be an athlete in high school.
Yeah,
and we were actually a state champ basketball team in 1988. I also played baseball for years. I think a 3-year letterman in both baseball and basketball at Central High School in Monmouth, Independence, and so that helped with connecting with people as well. But obviously the drugs and the alcohol and starting to use that kind of minimized my effectiveness, in sports and in academics and all that kind of stuff. But I was just getting by, always getting by and just doing enough to get by. And kind of skated through life that way for quite some time and just jumped from one addiction to another. As I had kids at a young age, got married at a young age, and just did things just to get by and not really focusing on family, focusing on me. And that was just definitely a downward spiral over kind of for quite some time. And I was a functioning addict for many years, and I was a chameleon, jumped from one thing to another when things got too hot, whether it be alcohol, drugs, different types of drugs, gambling, money, sex, pornography, whatever you want to,
whatever was
food,
available.
Whatever's available. If water got too hot in one area, back off, go over here.
Go over there.
And I think I was greatly addicted to chaos. Self-sabotage. I could never be happy with what I had, and constantly living in that chaotic atmosphere.
Did you find yourself succeeding in some things and then self-sabotaging?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I would. I had a pretty successful. I have a decent resume. If you don't factor in any of the addictions and all that kind of stuff on paper, the resume looks pretty good.
Right.
But you can also see it start to, some of that gold leaf kind of fall off of it because you kind of see the resume kind of change a little bit with tenure. Things aren't staying at jobs quite so long and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I had some good jobs in warehouse management, cost accounting. And I'm a cost accountant today. So it's an interesting dynamic to talk to people about, living on the streets, homeless, being a meth addict, and then talking about cost accounting. So it's kind of a
right. We often joke about. See, my wife works for the county. Denver works for the county. Where people will be in an NA meeting or an AA meeting, and someone will say, "I can't believe it, man! Somebody actually let me babysit their house. They gave me the keys to their house, right, from where I used to be to today." And I'm like, "That's nothing, man. I got the master key to the county courthouse hanging on my hook." Right? So it is amazing where we go and where we've come from.
Yep.
So you were somewhat of an athlete at one time. Denver, you ever an athlete?
I ran to lose weight. That was the only reason I ever got into athlete.
How about you, Marv? Were you ever an athlete?
Not really.
Not really?
Much.
Today, though, you are.
I am.
Right? Are you? Yeah. How about you, Tony? Were you ever into sports and doing that?
I did dance.
Did you?
Well, at school.
Yeah.
And some cheerleading on the side, but I was never too pumped for that one, so...
So you guys identify with this whole thing about self-sabotaging. Did you self-sabotage, Tony?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? Yeah? Denver, what about you?
Burn them down. Build them up, burn them down.
Burn 'em down.
I don't know how many times.
Wow. Yeah. So you've getting us out. How old are you now, Mike?
I'm 48.
Okay, 48. And so a lot of your formal years were interrupted, right, by substance abuse.
Definitely. I battled addiction for 30 years.
Yeah. Yeah. So when the fog started to clear, right? What was some of the stuff going through your head? Were you going, man, I gotta get a career. I gotta do something to better myself besides just being clean and sober?
Yeah, definitely. I remember sitting in an Oxford house trying to figure out what I'm going to do to keep myself busy, you know. And I kind of looked out to do some activities, and that's how I got into the comedy. I actually took a stand-up comedy class, and kind of introduced me to the whole process. And it's something I've always kind of wanted to do in life, but now I've got some time and need something to do that's positive.
Yeah.
And that's how I got into the comedy scene.
Right. So you say that your life's not just one day at a time, but one laugh at a time. What do you mean by that?
Well, I think it's people talk about one day at a time, and you know, I think it's a good mantra and everything, not to get too far in front, you know,
Sure.
and you know, God laughs at your plan and all that kind of stuff. And,
Yeah.
And but I think you know, sometimes life can get down into smaller chunks.
Yeah.
You know, throughout a day, and
Okay.
people struggle through even smaller chunks of time to get through things.
Uh-huh.
And I think just, you know, kind of getting a good laugh is really good therapy, and for me anyway.
Right.
So it's something I try to do, and also try to share through the comedy and whatnot.
So, okay, so some of our friends that we've had on the show, Bob Perkel, Mark Lundholm, who's been on several times, he's a good friend of mine. You talk to these guys, and stand-up comedy is no easy task. I mean, that's a rough go, man.
It is.
You know, that's a rough go. I mean, so there's got to be an ample amount of discouragement, and for somebody in recovery, that can be tricky,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, that can be.
How do you deal with that?
Well, I try to set myself up as best I can in positive situations. I say no to opportunities that I don't feel match my my inner addict might be going, hey, dude, let's go to this show. Let's do this show. It's going to be great, you know. And like, wait a minute, back up here. Let's take a look at the environment and all that kind of stuff. And I'm not saying I don't do shows at bars, but I don't do shows at certain locations and just different, how I get the feel for it and whatnot. And I'm not saying I'm like turning down shows left and right or anything like that, but I do definitely be selective in shows that I pursue.
You may not be doing the show at the local brothel.
Correct. And actually, I mentioned that there is a show at a sex club in Portland, and that's just one that I won't entertain. So, but
that's a show going on every day there.
Yeah, it's something else. And it's a very successful show. They have a great time doing it, and I wish them well. But
it's more than a quarter too, Tony.
It's not something that I want to expose myself to. So, but anyway, so yeah, but and also, you know, doing the Unloaded comedy shows, I can pick my venues, and when I do have a venue that does serve alcohol, I make arrangements to have them turn that off. And sometimes it's a financial thing. You know, they want to charge a loss of fee income,
sure they
loss
do.
of income fee.
Yeah,
but,
I get that.
Yeah. But you know, I want to create an environment that's safe for people to come and hang out and enjoy a night out in a sober atmosphere. So
right,
and I take steps to do that. And you know, and then venues like Shemeketa, you know, are obviously not going to be serving. So it's being a producer, I can you know, kind of pick those places that are safe.
So do you find yourself doing more recovery venues, or is it a balance of both recovery and just standard?
I think it's a balance.
Yeah.
I do a lot of theaters.
Okay.
Like the Clinton Street Theater up in Portland. I also did the Blue Mouse Theater up in Tacoma. And it's just a little 200-seat, you know, theater. that plays classic movies and whatnot. Usually it's oddly enough, a lot of the venues I play host the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Yeah. So it's this kind of places, but they also have a stage, and it's just a great little venue, the perfect size. We started in 2017 at the Capital City Theater in Salem. Was my very first show. And I think we had about a little over 100 people show up. We packed the place out, took the tables out, and they didn't serve and all that kind of stuff. And then now I think the last show we had at Clinton Street Theater, we had 175 people. So it's kind of growing every year. So we're feeling really good about that.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah,
nice. I just got to say this, Rocky, Janet, Dr. Scott. I had to do that. Not everybody's going to get that, but Mike does.
I was like 14 when I first saw that.
Were you really?
Yes.
Yeah, that's way too young.
I was confused for a while.
So how did you get started in this thing? I mean, how did you get your feet wet? You said, I want to do stand-up comedy.
Yep.
You were kind of hiding behind comedy growing up, which I totally get.
Yeah.
I was doing that too. How did you make the shift? And was it successful right away, or did you have a lot of hard knocks?
I actually had a couple hard knocks. I started way too soon in my comedy career to try to put together a benefit show for the Oxford House up in Vancouver. That's where I lived, and I just met. I just got out of this comedy class and thought, I can do this, and stuff. And when I coached baseball, youth baseball and stuff, I did a lot of organizing of leagues, running fall ball leagues and tournaments and stuff like that. So, it's kind of goes hand to hand with an event coordinating type, similar type of role. So I thought, okay, I can pull this off. I knew nothing about Facebook ads or marketing or anything like that. I just thought word of mouth would be great. And so I booked the Kiggins Theater up in Vancouver, which is a pretty large venue for comedy. And I booked my teacher, and he had a couple of friends that he knew that were clean and sober comics, and that's kind of what I wanted to get to and stuff. Yeah. And I think we may have had I don't know what the place seats. I probably look it up. I think it holds 300 at least. We may have had 15 or 20 people show up.
Oh no!
Yeah, it was tough. It was tough. I think one of the comics he made a joke about. It's like, was there a airplane hangar wasn't available or something? This is the biggest place we could get.
And my gosh!
But it was not successful. I had to just earn enough money to pay all the comics. Not a whole lot, but just paid them a little something.
How do you go on with the show when you go? This is all who's coming.
Yes, you just do it. You just do it, and you focus on, if Tony was the only one there, I'd be like, Tony, I'm gonna make you laugh tonight. This is you and me. We're in this, so let's make it work. And
if you ever need someone to do a laugh track for you, Tony is the person. Yeah,
you should have heard me in the bathroom today listening to your stuff. It was hard to put my eyeliner on because I was laughing.
But you bounced back. You went.
But I bounced back, and so. I did a few of my own stuff and different shows and whatnot, and trying to get out there. And then I eventually had this kind of dream that I wanted to create unloaded comedy. So this first show, this first debacle, was not anything to do with unloaded comedy. It was me just trying to try this out. And then a couple years later, I thought, hey, I want to do this unloaded comedy thing and make it work. And so I started doing some more research and looking into venues and trying to find out how the marketing and all the stuff. And I kind of leaned on the Capital City Theater. The folks there leaned on them with their online ticket sales and some of their marketing and their tips and stuff like that, and to try to get the word out. And then of course I lived in Salem for 25 years. I thought all my friends and family were going to come and whatnot. And maybe not so much my family, but that's a different story. But anyway, the friends anyway. But I was really happy to see that when I looked out in the crowd, there was not a whole lot of family and friends. There was a lot of people, other people in recovery that came out. And so I thought that was pretty cool. It'd be one thing if it was like all your family and friends, filling the place, and it's just kind of a Homer type thing, as opposed to the word getting out and people knowing about it and whatnot. And I did a I did a radio interview, and I did the Statesman. They did a really nice article and stuff, and really helped get the word out. So that's kind of the start of it, and that was back in February of 2017. So here we are in our third year.
So you're actually picking up some good momentum in a short period of time.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And we only do, there's a lot of comedy shows out there that do weekly shows and shows that do monthly shows and stuff like that. I'm not really that, don't have that kind of a schedule. I book more of like larger events, and maybe 3 or 4 a year is what we do. And this year it kind of took off on me a little bit. I've already had shows in Tacoma and Portland, and I have shows coming up at the Oregon Recovery Community Summit this weekend.
This Saturday.
Yeah. And then at the end of the month, June 29th, we'll be at Chemeketa Community College at Building 6 Auditorium there. And so we're really excited about that.
And then in August, you're doing the Narcotics Anonymous Unity Day right here in Lynn County at Timberland Park.
Yes.
Are you really?
That's
yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
So that's Lynn, Benton, Lincoln area of NA. Is the area that is represented for that. And we'll remind the listeners of all three of these events again here in a minute. But excuse me. So do you find, not to throw anybody under the bus at all, so please, listeners, don't misunderstand. It's just a question. I'm just curious. Do you find that going with the two mainstream recovery fellowships, because there's a 12-step program for just about every issue out there now, right? But your two mainstream, you're the mothership being Alcoholics Anonymous and then Narcotics Anonymous, and then we have Celebrate Recovery and some of these others. But do you find that you're getting more of a response from one than the other as far as attendance goes?
I think my tagline probably leans a little towards the NA group. Using the word clean,
right?
And so
that attracts them more, maybe.
I think that might be, but I think what I hear in the crowd and afterwards and whatnot, I think we do get a lot of AA folks that come, and I have a mix. The comedians that I have are a mix of alcoholics,
and
then also addicts, and they speak to that point. And so that people talk about their sobriety, or they talk about their clean time, and so there's we all know there's a little bit of difference there. But it's
but you're in a comedy show. All that stuff's kind of left at the door, right?
Exactly.
We can't laugh at each other's slogans.
And we actually poke fun a little bit about that. Some of the comics, talk about that. Jeremiah Coughlin has a really good line about we're all in this together. We just want to get together and be able to pronounce the word anonymity.
Right.
So just things like that, in jest and. We've had some people say, "Oh, I don't want to go to a recovery show. It's going to be, jokes about 12 steps the whole time." Blah, blah. That's not really the case,
right?
When I talk to my comics and when I kind of interview them a little bit, if you will, and screen them, I ask them about their recovery and how active they are in their recovery, and that's kind of important to me. I want to make sure they're clean and sober. Not just green and sober. There's a lot of that, and there's a lot of people that take pride in that, and that's fine. That's fine, but that's not
what you guys.
That's
are
not
about.
what we're about, and that's not a ding on them. I'm happy that they're happy. It becomes that whole debate about your life becoming unmanageable.
Right.
And if people deem that their life is manageable with partaking in something, then that's on them, and that's their life.
They're going to have to figure it out, right?
They'll have to figure that out.
Yeah.
If it works for them, that's great, but that never did work for me. So, and that's the message we want to portray, is that it's, we're clean and sober, and these comics are clean and sober and active in recovery, not just, I've never drank and never, did drugs, so I can tell jokes. So I try to have that, difference. Or we've had a host a couple times that actually works for Serenity Lane, and they sponsored our show a couple times, and so we were pretty excited about that. And so she came out and she just had some really good takes and whatnot, and it was, people were able to connect,
So let's talk about this network you've kind of built. Some would call it, I guess, old school would call it literally a company. Your comedy company, right?
Yeah.
So you just started out just you, true?
Well, I was the one that woke up one morning and said, I want to start
Right.
a load of comedy, yes.
And so was there something that clicked that says, I want to actually start a team?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
There was a group of clean and sober comics that got together and did a show called, I can't remember what it's called now. Keep it simple, stupid. I believe it was the tagline. And Jeremiah Coughlin ran that, and he got together a bunch of comics. And the ones I believe I use today, all of them, still to this day. I think one did move out of the country, but other than that, we've used all those comics repeatedly, and they become part of the group.
Mm-hmm.
We built the group to about a dozen people now, and I was kind of going through the names, and 2/3 are women. And so we've got
Nice.
8 women and 4 guys, and 4 or 5 guys, and it's just a really good mix. And then we just kind of rotate. You know, I try to have 4 comics per show, type thing with the host, and just kind of rotate based upon. I want a larger pool because these are good comics.
Yeah.
These are good mainstream comics. These are good recovery comics, and they get booked. And you need to be out in front far enough. And if you can't be out far enough to be able to book them, you need a larger pool to be able to have good talent and fill a show. And so I wanted to be sure to do that. And then part of the goal too for Unloaded Comedy is to travel travel the globe, but travel the country. And oddly enough, the very first show I tried to book was in Florida.
Oh wow!
And
Florida.
yeah. So going from this debacle in Vancouver before Unloaded Comedy, and then
going to Florida.
The first one. Let's just go to Florida and do
You're
this.
You're a brave
right?
soul.
Yeah.
You are a brave soul.
So I'm really glad that didn't happen. That's kind of the
wow.
God laughs at your plans type thing.
Yeah.
I'm going to put you here in Salem, and you're going to do something nice and safe right here, and it worked out really well, and it's been something we've really grown off.
That is funny because when we first started. Going on as a production 16 years ago, 15 years in broadcasting here, we had a lot of people jump on the bandwagon and promise us the world.
Yeah.
Because we were really, there was one other guy, he was kind of a used car salesman kind of guy. I don't know whatever happened to him, but it was just me and this guy from back in the Midwest somewhere, and nobody was doing recovery radio or podcasts. And it was kind of a bold step because of the anonymity thing and the misunderstanding of that.
Yeah.
It's our public relations policy. Yeah. It's not our personal stories, that are based on attraction rather than promotion. And so we struggled. But we had a lot of people. We had the Florida Keys, the 12-Step Music Fest that went on for years. We went out to that thing. And I remember, brother, the first time we flew out there, I had like 150 pounds of recording equipment and booms and things because I didn't know how to travel. I didn't know anything about portable equipment or it was crazy.
Yeah.
Right. And so Florida didn't work out well for us either. But then we started, as the years went on, we've gone to Arizona, Denver, and I've gone to Arizona several years in a row. But then we started focusing a little bit more at home, because you're never a prophet in your own home kind of thing. And so why not be at home and try? Have you had more success locally or in the Pacific Northwest?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's growing, and I think it's starting to become attractive, if you will. I think we're getting to the point where people are starting to inquire, which I think is a really good place to be. Hey, can you come here and do this? Can you come here and do that? Those kind of things. So I think that's really good. From where we started,
right?
Can we come to you and do this?
Yeah,
it's going to be fun, really. We promise. but now, with the website and having the shows and whatnot, we're really blessed to be where we are right now. So
yeah, it's a good deal. I've noticed things are getting better as far as extracurricular activities within 12-Step Fellowships, because for a while there, it was like you'd have to go to the East Coast for anybody to do anything other than meetings and service conventions. And the more that you came out here, people just, they were just like,
Yeah, there's only so much bingo you can play, right?
Yeah, right? They really didn't want to do it. So I'm really glad to hear that it's starting to hop a little bit more. You guys any questions for Mike? Denver?
No, none right off the get-go. Good job,
I
man.
know.
You've
Yeah.
come a long ways from the Oxford House. Are you planning on going back there and doing a show for them?
Well, when we were in Tacoma, I was able to offer up, a large amount of free tickets for folks in Oxford. So that was pretty cool. I do stay in touch with some folks from the Oxford community, and doing a fundraiser for them would definitely be right up our alley.
Yeah. Well,
So now that I know how to do something like that,
Yeah.
the first one wasn't so good, but
Right.
but we can definitely circle back around and do something positive for them.
Because I know they do a lot of times they have the Oxfest thing in conjunction with Hands Across the Bridge over in Vancouver. And all those guys as a really heavy duty recovery community in the Vancouver area.
Yeah.
That does this. So, any questions, Marv?
No.
Anything, Tony?
Just out of plain curiosity, and just because I'm from Tacoma, born and raised, how was the what's the word?
Turnout.
Outcome?
Turnout.
Turnout.
Thank you.
The turnout was great.
Was
Great.
it really?
Yeah, the main concern I had about Tacoma
Because
was
that's a tough town.
there was a lot of firsts for me as a producer,
Right.
to go so far from home. The time slot that was available from the theater, they wanted to play their movie at 8:00, so we had to do a 10:00 show. So that's the first time I've ever done the show quite so late. And so I was really concerned, about doing that.
the audience.
About the,
Yeah, exactly. My point.
If they would show up, even because people coming out that late, and luckily it was a Saturday night, and
And the surrounding areas aren't that great either.
but it was the theater was actually in a really nice little neighborhood.
Oh, was
I was
it?
surprised. Yeah, it
Oh,
was.
okay,
It
good.
was a nice little neighborhood, a little neighborhood theater, and Starbucks down the corner, and all that kind of stuff. And,
Okay.
but it was a really good turnout. We had
Good.
and we had our largest tickets sales at the door, which was nice, and I think we had just over 120 people show up. So,
Well, good for you, Tacoma.
yeah,
I'm proud of my
yeah.
hometown.
Yeah.
It was fun. We
That's
had a lot of
nice.
local comedians. I used some new comics that show. We had Claire Weber come down from Seattle, and Riley Howard out of Snohomish, and then of course we used Sam Miller and Ryan Bunnell out of Olympia.
And then Riley and Sam are going to be doing your show at Chemeketa
Yes.
Where is
College on the
Chemeketa?
29th of June.
On the 29th of June.
Right.
Salem.
Along with Jeremiah
Okay.
Coughlin and you.
And me. Yep.
Right.
Yep. And
Did I say Chemeketa Community College in Salem?
yes?
I keep thinking Chemeketa is a town. What is wrong with me?
It's its own little town.
Yeah.
It's a very small town. But there's a mayor and everything.
So Oregon Recovers, and we've had Mike, the founder of that, on the show here. We're also a sponsor of Oregon Recovers. Oregon Recovers is having a recovery community summit, and that is this Saturday.
Yes.
Right?
It's Friday through Sunday.
The whole summit is.
The whole summit is.
But you guys are doing the show on Saturday
Saturday around noon, I believe.
around noon at Hotel Eugene.
It's Hotel Eugene, but I think it's also called The Graduate, or maybe it was The Graduate, and now it's Hotel Eugene, or vice versa. I'm not sure, but it's that hotel.
Well, if you want more
up those
information,
names.
you can go to www.oregonrecovers.org. And if you want to scroll down to the bottom of the page, our logo's down there too.
Nice.
Which will just take you back to here. So it's a nice little connection. And then on June 29th, Unloaded Comedy, Laugh Yourself Clean, Saturday, June 29th at 8 p.m. You're at Chemeketa Community College, Building 6, Auditorium in Salem. And they can go to your website,
Yes.
which is unloadedcomedy.com, which is very well done, by the way, I must say.
Thank you.
And then on Saturday, August 3rd, the Narcotics Anonymous Unity Day for the Lynn Benton Lincoln area of NA at Timberland Park
I'm going to that one.
in Albany, Oregon.
I got to see
Nice.
that.
Sam and I are going to be down there for that one.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very, very, very,
I
very
think we're going to
good.
perform around 4:00.
So, why Unloaded Comedy? What's behind the name?
Well, unloaded as opposed to being loaded. It's
okay.
kind of the take there.
Yeah.
The logo kind of I wanted the have a large, for those who can't see the podcast, but there's a large truck that's semi-truck that's the logo, and we often put,
That's your truck?
well, it's not my truck, but it's our logo.
Oh, okay.
And we often put the sponsor for the show in the grill of the truck. If you see the
Right, you got air. You got the. We'll talk about your clothing thing in a minute
But
too.
we also have Bridgeway is sponsoring our show in Shemeketa.
Bridgeway from Salem,
Bridgeway
yeah.
Recovery Services.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of an alumni from Bridgeway.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, in that I went there a couple times for detox, yes. And
Okay.
kind of went through their program.
Yeah, we got a
little bit.
buddy, Dave T. Dave T. works there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
So they're offering mental health, dependency, chemical dependency, and treatment plans for gambling and all that kind of stuff. So they're really helping.
Good
people.
deal.
Yeah, really helping people up there, and they were happy to sponsor our show. And they're having an anniversary the very next day on the 30th at the Oregon Gardens in Silverton, and so they're
Nice.
kind of I think. This opportunity to sponsor our show, they're kind of making a weekend out of it. So
Nice.
that's pretty cool that they were able to do that for us. So
Yeah.
it really helps, as you know, being someone that's putting on a podcast and all that.
Right.
It really helps to offset expenses. So it's really
Yeah,
nice
it does.
to get a sponsor.
Yeah,
so,
it does.
It takes a lot of pressure off.
Yeah, really good stuff. A lot of stuff going on in Salem. We got. I haven't told you guys this yet, though, but we're back up on Hands Across the Bridge in Salem in September for National Recovery Month.
And my car will be fixed by then.
Okay, good.
Yes.
And then we got Recovery in the Park coming up too on the 25th. Tuesday, I think it's the
this month?
25th of June.
Yeah.
Yeah, here. And so I'm going to need coverage for the booth.
Yep.
Hint, hint.
Yeah.
I'm at both.
That's Tuesday from 5 to 9.
Okay.
Yeah. If you're able to, Denver. You probably have to work, though, right?
I'm scheduled to work, but we'll see.
We'll see. We'll see. So, okay. Comedy, recovery, you got to laugh, right? Because some of the stuff we've gone through has been pretty horrific. Marv, you weren't always laughing at the stuff you went through, right?
I was what?
You weren't always laughing about the stuff you went through.
I still don't laugh. at the stuff.
But you find it kind of chuckly, don't you? I mean, when you look back at where you were, where you are today, there's got to be some humor in that meeting down there. Doesn't there? Hopefully.
Once
No?
in a while.
No, I know there is. I know there is. You guys get a bunch of scallywags down there laughing behind your mustaches. Yeah, yeah.
Grinning under these lips.
Grinning under them lips.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Marv is, he probably doesn't want to admit it, but he is one of our valued elder statesmen. And we appreciate him being on the show so much because he offers a maturity that sometimes we lack around the rooms. And Tony's our giggle box. And she definitely adds humor to the show. Denver's our Grinch. We got to have that.
We balance each other out very well.
I thought you had Tony's laugh on like a button that you just kept hitting.
Right?
But it's
Right.
not. It's real.
I know. Unloadedcomedy.com is the website. Please visit it. You can follow the links at take12radio.com as well. Any closing thoughts, Mike? Anything you want to add? Oh, Denver, go ahead first.
Something about clothing you had mentioned.
Oh, clothing. Yeah. I don't want to forget this. So, Air
memory.
Clothing Line,
Yes.
AIR, Addicts in Recovery, right?
Yep, that's correct.
Tell us about your clothing line.
Addicts in Recovery, Air, was makers of airwear recovery gear. And I just woke up one morning literally with this idea in my mind of air.
Yeah.
And I just kind of kicked it around. And I worked at a place that had some graphic designers, and I got a hold of one and said, hey, I have this idea. And talk about anonymity. kind of below my anonymity of this new job and stuff. But
Right.
I said, here's the deal, and would you help me out? And we kind of sketched out a few designs and came up with the logo. And it's been a very therapeutic thing for me to do is just
Nice.
create these shirts. You can find them at addictsandrecovery.net. and it's just it makes zero money. But it's something I enjoy, and it's been a really good tie-in to the Unloaded Comedy. Air started first, and then now I've focused a lot of my time and energy on the Unloaded Comedy. But it's definitely been something I enjoy doing. It's a lot of tongue-in-cheek T-shirts, not a whole lot of graphic design going to blow you away or anything, but just message and
Sure.
whatnot. And we've had a lot of people, buy them around the country, around the world. We sent some to England and Australia, and
Wow.
send them batches of them to a friend in San Antonio, and it's just been a really good, really fun thing to do. And I've designed a lot of shirts for people's logos and their events and whatnot, and it's something I've never really done before recovery, but trying to find something positive to do.
That's excellent.
Yeah, so
That's
it's been a lot
excellent.
of fun.
That's very inspiring.
Cool.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, so you can order you order your recovery wear there at addictsinrecovery.net. You can click on the link at take12radio.com on that one as well. Mike, any closing thoughts?
No, I really appreciate the opportunity to come here and share my story and share a little bit about Unloaded Comedy and Airwear, and really enjoy what you're doing with your recovery talk.
Oh, thanks, brother.
And your positive music and your positive message. I've enjoyed getting to know you guys via the podcast.
Right.
I've listened to several of them, and
nice.
it's enjoyable.
We have
I
a
like what you guys
listener.
do. You have a listener, yeah.
Our first groupie.
The one guy. The one guy in the Pacific Northwest that pays attention.
I'll definitely share you guys on the social media channels, and I think this is great. I'm really happy to finally meet you in person.
Yeah, you too, man.
So-
'Cause
Oh, you guys haven't met before?
No, we've talked before. We have not really met before.
Yeah.
No. Okay, again, Recovery Community Summit, Saturday, June 8th is when the show is going to be put on by Oregon Recovers, and Unloaded Comedy will be there. Visit that website, OregonRecovers.org, for more information. Unloaded Comedy, Laugh Yourself Clean, Saturday, June 29th at Chemeketa College. Go to unloadedcomedy.com for that information. And then right here in our own backyard on August 3rd, the Narcotics Anonymous Unity Day at Timberland Park. And you can also go to unloadedcomedy.com. If somebody wanted to book a show, Mike, did they just go to your website and contact you?
Yeah, that'd be great. They can contact me through the website. We have a little contact button,
right?
Or they can email me directly at unloadedcomedy@gmail.com.
All right.
So,
do you have a Facebook page?
I do have a Facebook page at
Unloaded
Comedy, and I also have a Instagram and at Unloaded Comedy.
Yeah, because don't you know Facebook is for old people now? That's what I'm told.
I Facebook quite well.
It's true. It's true.
I know it is.
It's
That's
a
what my daughter
all
said.
right.
A lot of the
Yeah.
marketing is telling me that. So
I know.
It's interesting.
But Instagram is harder to put.
I know.
You can't put a link on
I don't
there.
understand Instagram.
You have to say, click on our bio. And here's what I'm finding about that. People don't like to take too many steps.
Nope.
So if you can put one link on, they're happy with that. If it doesn't come up within 3 seconds, they're on to something else, right?
Yep.
It's
Squirrel.
crazy. All right. One more thing that I have to say, and I know he doesn't want me to, but today,
Oh, what?
today our brother Marv is celebrating 33 years
What?
of sobriety.
Yeah.
You weren't
Yes.
even going to let him say that? High five.
There you go.
Or high hook. Would that be it?
He's going, oh, shucks.
Yeah, it's all because of God now.
I know.
Amen.
All right.
Yeah, but we could have seen your lip. We swore we saw your lips moving and your feet walking, though. So that means you've been obedient, brother, and we appreciate you so much. We really
love
do.
you.
Yep. And listen, our closing song kind of speaks to that because you've been a member of your home group for a very long time. This is a song by Michael Purrington, who is a comedic musician, and it's entitled "This Is the Place." Here is Mr. Purrington.
If you're trying to find a way out of the hole, this is the place. Have a laugh and save your soul. saving grace. Hook up to the human race. Come on in. This is the place. If you're looking to get a little relief, this is the place. If you're a drunk, a liar, a cheat, and a thief, honey, this is the place. If your hope is hiding where the sun don't shine, here you go, have a little of mine. I got plenty. This is the place. Yeah, this is the place where I wear no mask. I am who I am, not part of the past. Get a little taste of saving grace. Hook up to the human race. Come on in. This is the place. This is the place. This is the place. This is the place. Oh, come on in. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. This is the place.
And that was Mr. Michael Purrington with his song, This Is the Place. Hey, listen, you can download our app and take us on the go by simply visiting us at take12radio.com and clicking on Follow Me on Podomatic. You can download the app for iOS or Android. Remember, we are on all social media platforms, including iTunes. A very special thank you to Mr. Mike Lindsey in the studio live with us today, the founder of unloadedcomedy.com. Visit him at that website for the best in comedic stuff. Listen, man, you've got to spend some time laughing. Life's way too short not to. So visit his website, unloadedcomedy.com, and until our next broadcast, this is the Monty Man, along with the Take 12 Recovery Radio family, and we are wishing God's perfect serenity for you. Bye-bye now.
Good guys, bad boys, we're all the same. Saved by grace is the name of the game. Turn around, hit the ground, time to lay a burden down.
This has been a broadcast of KHLT Recovery Broadcasting.
Cause she's a super cat, she's super kitty, meow.
Yeah, kitty, 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 meow.